welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we're not going to do this puzzle on the screen today. No, this was my Secret Santa from Abitawilla, which we did on the channel a couple of days ago. No, Mark has sent me a puzzle today, which he's instructed me to open once I've started my webcam, which basically means there's going to be no given digits in it at all, and or a horrible rule set. So I'm going to do that. Wish me luck. But before I do, I need to say congratulations to more of you who've managed to solve the Star Wars Sudoku hunt, which is available for all of you who are patrons of the channel, by the way, over on Patreon right now. So really well done to Kelvin Graham, to Jose Cusco, to Joe Chang, to Nicholas Owl, to Mike Daniels, Scott Nakamura, and to Brennan Coher. I might be saying that wrong. I hope I'm not. Brennan, I've got your name completely wrong. Brennan Coher, something like that. Anyway, Brennan, you did brilliantly. Now, that's all I've got to tell you today, I think. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. So why don't we click on a few things here and let's see if we can get this going. Right, ready? This is going to be it. And... oh! No, I was expecting no digits in the grid, and I've got loads of, well, I haven't got any actual digits, but I've got loads of stuff. I've got thermos. Hang on, I've got a 20 gauge. That doesn't look good in 2 cells. Okay, there's something strange going on. Let's see what this is about. It's called SUDOKU. Instead of Sudoku. Okay, that's clever. By Isaac Resnikoff. Now, Isaac Resnikoff, that's not a name I recognise. I don't think, although it rings the vaguest bell. Isaac Resnikoff. Right, hang on. Let me just read you the rules. Normal Sudoku rules cannot apply. Well, that makes sense, because that 20 gauge is difficult. No digit can appear No digit can appear exactly once in any row, box, or column. There are exactly 9 of each digit. Digits cannot appear exactly once within a cage, and cannot sum to the value indicated. Right. Okay. Digits along the thermometer strictly do not increase from the bulb end. They may decrease or stay the same, but never increase. Numbers with a black dot between them cannot have a ratio to... oh, for goodness sake! What? This isn't... well, no, this is very much... this is why it's called Sudoku, is because it's got virtually nothing in common with a Sudoku. Normal Sudoku rules cannot apply. It doesn't even say do not apply. It says cannot apply. No digit can appear exactly once in any row, box, or column. So it's utterly broken. There are exactly 9 of each digit. I'm sorry for reading this again. I hope you understand. I hope nobody's reading this and thinking, oh yeah, I understand what to do. I do not understand what to do. Digits cannot appear exactly once within a cage. Right, so that's... right, so what we're learning is that this 16 cage doesn't have an 8 in it, I think. Because the rule is that digits cannot appear exactly once within a cage. So whatever is in this cage is in both cells of the cage, and therefore cannot be 8, because then the cage would add up to 16, and it's not allowed to. Clear? Now the thermometer thing, I wasn't quite understanding that. Digits along a thermometer strictly do not increase from the bulb end. So from the bulb end they may decrease or stay the same. Oh, for goodness sake, this is absolutely nightmarish. Right. Well, have a go. Have a go at the puzzle yourselves. The way to play is to click the link under the video, as usual. I'm already anticipating that if I can finish this, I'm looking forward to the comments. With that, let's get cracking. And you'll have to forgive me here because I am not at all sure I even understand. I mean, what is this huge thermometer telling us? How many, do I need to know how many cells it is? I'm going to find out. Let's have a look. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 20, 27 cell thermometer. So, so digits are going to have to stay the same on this, because if they just went 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I was about to say we'd already run out of digits, but of course the ones could, the ones could then repeat. Unfortunately, there aren't enough ones to get us to the end of the thermo. But okay, so we can say that the thermo doesn't start with 9. That I can see as a tiny little deduction, because if the thermo started with 9, that would also be a 9, because numbers have to repeat within cages in this puzzle, and 9 and 9 do make 18. So this square is an 8 or lower. Now if it was an 8, that would have to be an 8. But then we could in theory put 8s. We could put 9 8s, I suppose, along the thermo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, well that doesn't quite work here, does it? Because if all 3 of those were 8s as well, I think that gives us too many 8s in the puzzle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's too many 8s. So none of the squares in the 21k so none of the digits in the 21 cage can okay, I've got lucky here. Well, not really lucky, but I was about to say none of the digits can be an 8, because I was assuming that you had to repeat the digit that appeared in the cage, but I've just realised you don't do. Well, you do, but only once you fill in a logical lacuna that I didn't pick up on. So when I was thinking about this cage, in my mind, I just assumed that all cages were filled with the same digits. But I've just realised that's not necessarily true. Although it is true for a 3-cell cage. And it's true for a 3-cell cage because if 2 of these digits were the same and one was different, so if I went 887, for example, the problem is the 7 hasn't repeated in the cage, and that won't work. So in a 3-cell cage, everything has to be the same. But and a 2-cell cage, obviously everything has to be the same. Oh, okay, now we've only got one cage, I think, which is bigger than 3 cells. This cage is a 6-cell cage. Let's just have a quick think about this. Digits cannot appear once within the cage, so whatever's in this cage, so whatever's in that square has to have a friend somewhere in the cage. But it's not the case that it would have to fill the cage. You could have, say, 3 of one digit and 3 of another digit. So if you had 3 8s there and 3 7s, I don't think they would add up to 38. And so that would be okay. And you would have repeated digits in the cage. So the 8 would have repeated digits and the 7 would have repeated digits. And I think that would make that possibly a possible fill of that 38 cage. Okay, right, so we are learning slowly about how this puzzle works. So coming back here then, we can't have an 8 in this cage, and now we know we can't have a 7 in the cage, because if we have a 7 in the cage, it must be a complete string of 7s, and that would add up to 21, which is too many. So, not that it's too many, it's exactly correct, it's exactly correct, and it can't be exactly correct. So I think the maximum value of this square is now a 6. and then that could go 6, 6, 6, number of the beast, 6, 6, 6. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then if it was here, the 6 would have to repeat all through there. So that can't be a 6. So that's a 5 maximum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is a 4 maximum. Wow. Wow. So this thermo really is very unhelpful. Or maybe what I've got to do is think about it from the other direction now. So I've worked out what the maximum this digit is. What's the minimum this digit could be? Or indeed, what's the minimum that digit can be? Or maybe you've just got to work backwards. Yeah, okay. Well, that could have 1s in it, but this little thing here can't have 2s in it, because 3 times 2 is 6, and that would be correct. Oh, that's weird. That one can't have 1s in it. So there's sort of a valve here that stops the 1 going too far back along the thermometer. Yeah, actually, that might not be such a silly idea. Maybe the idea with the thermometers is that you have to imagine them actually reversed. So if I imagine the bulb was here, and this was the tip of the thermometer, I might actually find that conceptually easier. Because then, if we are doing that, we can go 1s to there, but we can't go further. So this has to be at least a 2. So let's just have a think about this. If that's at least a 2, so that's at least a 1. This is at least a 2. Then it could stay 2 for a while, presumably. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It could stay a 2 all the way to there. Ah, now then you can't have a 3, look. Because the 6 would break. If you had double 3 in here, the 6 would be correct. So, is it true to say that that has a minimum value of 4? I think it is. 4, 4. Ah, and that's going to run into an 8. If we keep running the 4s backwards, you're going to hit the 8 well, not too quickly, but you're going to hit the 8 that's going to have to force that number up. So that number is a minimum of 5. But then the 5 could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this square, this square, this square are 6s minimum. Okay, so what have we learned? We've learned those squares there are 6s, 7s or 8s, I think. This square here is a maximum of 6 and a minimum of 5. So that's a 5 or a 6, that's a 5 or a 6. Now if this was 6 and it just kept running, that could be a 6, that could be a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so the 6 can go all the way to here, but no further. So these squares are 4, 5, 6, I think. Yeah, that can be a 4 because it's not polluted by the ability to add up to 8 in 2 cells. 4, 5, 6. Now, so the 6 can't go further than this. So this is 5 maximum. And was it 2 minimum? I think it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 2 minimum. So, this one can't be 4. I wasn't really thinking it could be 4, but it can't be 4 because then there'd be 3 4s in the 12 gauge and that would break. So this one is 2, 3, or 5. That's interesting all of a sudden. Why is that black dot there? That is to prevent a 6-3 combination. Wow, okay. How on earth? Well, what's the order? What's the order? Do we get to know that this is a 3 and therefore eliminate the 6 from here? Or do we get to know this is a 6 and eliminate the 3 from there? That is an interesting question. All of these squares, in theory, can be a 2 at minimum. Now, how far can the 5 go? This is so complicated. The 6 couldn't reach here, so if the 5 reached here and started here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 5 can go all the way to the end of the 2. So this square here could be a 4. These squares could never be a 4, but then you could change to a 4. You could change to a 4 here. This is mind-blowing. And then you come all the way down here. Can you really have a 5 all the way down here? Or is that? No, you could, couldn't you? Because 5, 5. Sorry, I know that this must be frustrating for people who expect me to just fly through these puzzles, but this is nuts. It's absolutely, it's barbaric. That's what it is, Isaac Resnikov. You are a barbarian, my friend, and you have made me feel rather stupid. So the 5 could go there. So the 5 couldn't enter the 6. So the 6, which can't be a 2, is a 1, 3, or a 4. Okay, 1, 3, or 4. So we've sort of, well, I haven't pencil marked those squares in. Hang on. So can we do that? If these were 6s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, maybe I can rule 6 out from there. If that's 6. Oh no, I can't because that could be 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I can. That can be. Oh, but the 6 would interfere with the 18. Maybe that's the point. So if this was 6, this would have to be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, that looks quite good actually. The 5 could flow all the way down to here and then change to a 4, say. And then maybe that's why this 12 is here, to force that then down further to that being a 3. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay, so this can't be 6. So that's got to be 7 or 8. Now I'm confused about why I haven't got 5s in here. If you've got 5s in there, do you break down here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay, and that's, yeah, and then there were reasons, weren't there, why we got locked in here with 4s, 5s, and 6s. So okay, so you can't put 5 in here, but maybe you can put 5 in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe you can. So 5 maybe can go in here. I'm not sure. So that square seems to have loads of options. But this is a real problem actually, as many of you will be noting, because I have not really got to the bottom of this long thermo at all, and surely that's the most useful thing in the puzzle. That string of digits is the most restricted thing in the puzzle. These digits have to be 5s or 6s. So I'm going to read the rules again. I'm not understanding how to do this. Normal Sudoku rules cannot apply. No digit can appear exactly once in any row, column or box. There are exactly 9 of each digit. Right, okay. Aha, I see. Here is an idea that I think is correct, and you can shoot me down. How could all those digits be the same? That is my question. How could all of those digits be the same? Because if they're all the same, we're saying that digits cannot appear exactly once in any row, column or box. So I would have to have another 6 in row 4, another 6 in row 5, another 6 in row 6, another 6 in row 7, another 6 in row 8. And that would mean there were 10 6s in the grid. And we are told there are only 9 of each digit. So that is wrong. That's wrong. And that means this must be different to that. Ah, right, well, therefore it must be higher, because that's what we're told. So this must go 6s here, 5s here. Now, now I wanted to eliminate 5s from these cells, but that's not right, is it? No, it's not right. It's not right at all. I can't actually eliminate anything as a result of getting... I can do nothing by normal Sudoku. I've got to just forget normal Sudoku. It's not helpful. Ah, now maybe those ones up there can't be 5 anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the furthest up a 5 can go. So 5s come out of all those squares. There we go. There's a little deduction. Ooh, hang on. So that's become 2s or 3s. So that can't be 4, or the thermometer would be increasing again. So that can't be 4, or the thermometer would be increasing again. But what you could perhaps have is a whole string of 3s along the thermo. Right, hang on. Remember the black dot? So these 6s now can't join to a 3 in that 12 cage, so that we can get rid of 3s. And we're down to 2s and 5s. So if this is a string of 2s, that string of 2s would have to end here, because I can't put a 1 in the 2 cage. Oh, this is really clever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if this is a 2, you've got to go 2s. Ah, this is beautiful. Right. That's not going to work. That's wrong. Because if you do have 2s in here, you must have 2s in there. Now, how many rows of 2s do we have? And the answer is 5 rows of 2s. That row, that row, that row, that row, and that row. That's too many, because then there must be axiomatically at least 10 2s in the grid, because 2s cannot only appear once in a row. So, this is not a 2, and we've got some more digits. Then we've got some 5s in the grid, which we can't use to make any eliminations, so don't even think about doing that. Oh, but now the thermo cells between the 5s must themselves be 5s, otherwise we've got some strange oscillations which are not allowed by the rules. I've got loads of 5s. I've got 8 5s in the grid. I'm starting to understand this. This is by the way, let us just pause after 25 minutes of me rambling and stating nonsenses. How brilliant is this idea? How brilliant, and how mean is Mark for making me do this without having any time to even, let it cogitate over in my brain? The answer is considerably mean, and that means that Mark probably gives coal to his relatives for Christmas. Now, anyway, I'm getting distracted. I was noting this 5 has to have a friend, doesn't it, in this row? Now, given I've got 8 5s in the grid, if I put the 5 in another house, and by house I mean anywhere where there's no 5 at the moment, if I put the 5 here, then I must put a 5 in this column, and the same is true for any of those cells. So the 5 cannot go in any of those cells, and this is lovely. Right, the 5 cannot go here because that's a 2-cell cage and it would have to mimic itself, and that would mean there were 10 5s in the grid before we put the second 5 in column 4. So there is a 5 here, is my contention. And now I have done a digit. Now I can do eliminations. Now I can remove 5s from anywhere that they're pencil marked. So if that... Right, sorry, and I think I've made a logical... No, maybe I didn't make a logical error, because I just got rid of 5s from there, didn't I? No, maybe I didn't. I was just thinking, now these can't be 6s, because if they're 6s, the thermometer would have to increase, which it's not allowed to do. But before I had a 5 in there, so it could have gone 6 to 5. Now it can't. So now I've got a whole load of 7s and 8s. Okay. That almost feels interesting. And I've got... okay, and that digit has got to be the same as that digit, which means it's the same as that digit. Right, those 3 digits are all the same. And we know that because whatever this is not a 5, but must repeat in the box, because that's what the crazy rules tell us. Once it repeats here, we know that the 12 cage is full of 2 of those digits, so we've got 3 red digits in the grid. And we know that the red digit is not a 6, because if it was a 6, this 12 cage would be correct. So why is that there? Why is 6 being ruled out from this cell? Oh, I know why. Is that something to do with these 3 squares? Is that telling us that... Well, it's telling us red... The red digit, which cannot be 6 and cannot be 5, must repeat in the column, so it's repeating somewhere up here. So if it... yeah, okay, I see. If it repeated in the 20 cage, that would be fine in theory, and it may even do that. But if it did do that, this digit's suddenly under pressure, because this digit has to repeat in the column, and it would therefore itself have to be red, because it can only be a 2 or a 3. So whether the 20 cage does repeat red or not, this is always red, and therefore that is always red, and therefore these squares are 2s or 3s. Now, right. Okay, I can officially say now that I absolutely love this. This is genius setting. It's just genius. What's this 12 cage now? And in particular, is it red? That's the question we should ask ourselves. The answer is no, it's not red. And the reason it's not red is so gorgeous. If it's red, how many boxes have a red digit in them? Well, let's do it. Box 1 has a red digit, box 2 has a red digit, box 4 has a red digit, box 7 has a red digit, and box 8 has a red digit. That's 5 boxes with a red digit. Given that the each box individually must have a repeat of any digit it has, that means there's at least 10 red digits, which is nonsense. So we can't have 10 red digits. So this is not red, therefore it's different from this, which means that it must be a higher number because of the thermo. We get 3s, 2s, and I get a load of 2s in the grid. I can't eliminate 3 from there. Oh, but I can eliminate 2 from there, not by the power of Sudoku, but by the power of thermometers. 5 in there, 3 in there. That's can't have a 2 between it on the thermo, so that's 3 or 4 now. Three. So I can see 3 needs another digit in row 4 and another digit in column 2, which could be that one, I guess. This 3 needs a repeated digit in these squares. Actually, maybe I should be pencil marking this. There must be a 3 in one of those squares, at least one. There could be loads. This 2 needs a repeated digit as well, and that repeated digit is going to have to be over there. Needs a repeated digit in the row. Oh, I guess it can, yeah, it can go at the end of a thermo. That's probably, in fact, a nice place to put it, isn't it? Because then if we remember that thermos, basically, we have to think of them backwards. And if we'd suddenly had the 2 and the bulb here, it would look very natural to have a 2 at the end. If the 2 is at the bulb of a thermo, though, then every digit after the 2 has to be either a 2 itself or a 1, because the thermo's running backwards. Right, I can tell you that there is no 2 in the 16 cage, because again, if we've got a 2 in the 16 cage now, I've got 2s in 5 different columns, and that's not going to work with our rule about having 5 things as well. We can only have any digit in this puzzle. In fact, this might be worth stating, mightn't it? Any digit in this puzzle can appear in a maximum of 4 different rows, or 4 different columns, or 4 different boxes. And this would give it 5 different columns if those were 2s, given they're the same digit. So this is not a 2, so the 2 is in one of those 2 places. So if this is the 2, then we'd have to quick smart switch into 1s. We'd have 3 1s at the end of in those cells. But we haven't got any more 1s in the grid. We've got a 1s penciled up there. Ah! Aha! But there, yeah, look, I could have done this. When I got the 2s here, the thermo can't rise at the end, so they are 1s. Now, if we got, no, it's so close to breaking. It does break, because the 14 has to duplicate. Oh, this is so clever, look. So now, if this is a 2, that's the 4th column in which a 2 has appeared. So we can have no more 2s in other columns, so, which forces 1s into those 2 squares and this one to complete this thermo. But this 14 cage needs a second same digit, so you get 4 1s in this box, but importantly they are spaced over 3 different rows of the grid, just as these 2 are. So that's 5 rows that have to contain 1s, which means there must be at least 10 1s in the puzzle, which is broken. So we can now say that that is not a 2 and that is a 2. And that, of course, is very annoying in some ways, because that's at the end of a thermo, which is, because of the strange thermo rules, probably exactly where it should be. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 2s placed, but I've got to put another 2 in this column. And I've got to put another 2 in this column. So that's going to bring my total of 2s up to 8. Yeah, oh, hang on. hang on. Also, I have now identified 4 different columns of the grid that contain 2's. So no other 2 in this grid can be in another column. So yeah, look how beautiful this is. Can that be a 2? No, it can't. Because if that's a 2, now I've got to put another 2 in this box. The only place it can go is there. And that seems to work, except I've now got 2's in 5 columns again, which doesn't work after all. So the 2 must be up there on the thermo. Now, if the 2... Or could I have 2 2's here? Actually, that could be quite a good solution. No, it's not. I can't have 2 2's because that would put 2's in 5 rows, therefore, and that's no good either. So there is exactly 1 2 here. So if this square was a 2, you'd have to put a 1 on the end of the thermo. So I know one of those is red. And I'm actually going to take a tip from Mark. I've seen him doing this in a few solves recently, where if he's colouring and he doesn't know, he knows that his coloured digit is in one of those 2, but he's not sure which one, he adds a flash to it, which I suppose could be done by the pencil mark as well. But anyway, I'm going to do that because it makes me feel colourful. Now, this 2... needs a friend up here, which cannot be. So this is the 4th, whichever one of these is true, is the 4th row of 2. So we can't, so we can't have the 2 being in any of those squares, or that square. We might be able to have it here, actually. Can that be a 2? Hang on though, I've got to fill in another 2 in box 2 as well. Oh, good grief, this is getting confusing. So I've got to put another 2 in box 2. And that 2 can't be in a different row or column to the 2's I've already approximately placed. So I could put the 2 here, maybe. But if that was a 2, surely I'm running into problems with 1's and 2's in this string of digits. If that's a 2, let me just think about this for a second. If this is a 2, I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2's placed. I've got an 8th 2 over here. I've got to have a 9th 2 in this column. So this whole, so all the rest of this thermo would have to be 1's, and that would put 5 1's into the rows, into 5 1's in different rows, which doesn't work. So that's not a 2. Good grief, this is getting really complicated. So 2, I've got 6. I've got 7 if I include this one. I've got to put another one in this column, that's 8. And I can't introduce any more rows or columns, can I? So this can't be 2. Yeah, okay, so hang on a minute. I'm getting confused now about where the options are for 2's. I've got 4 rows of 2's, although I don't know which of these is correct. I've got 4 columns of 2's. Oh, I tell you what I've also got, which I hadn't appreciated until just now, 4 boxes of 2's. So any 2 I add to this configuration of 2's I've got at the moment has to be in the same box as a 2 I've already got, but not a different row or column. So that square is not a 2. So the possible positions of 2's are, that could possibly be a 2. That's in the same row and column as an existing 2 I've placed. You can't put 2's in here, that's in a different box to the Sudoku. That's not going to work. We could have a 2 Can you have a 2 there? That looks awfully like it's in the wrong place in terms of the bulbage of this thermo. If that's a 2, it works from the row, it works from the column, but it is on a bulb. I'd have to have a 2 over there somewhere to meet these 2's obligation to have another 2 in their row. I'm not exactly sure where that 2 can go, and it's not here, is it? But there's a 2 somewhere over there. It can't go in the 20 cage, or there'll be 2 2's. Oh, if that's a 2, that's not going to work, is it? Because then I'm going to have... Oh, I don't know. Hang on. So can we disprove this as being a 2? If that's a 2, 6, 7... I've got to have another one in this row, that's 8. So this would be the 9th 2. So the whole, so the rest of this thermo would be 1s, and that would be five different columns containing 1s. That's not a 2. Right, so in this column, this can't be a 2, that would be a 5th column with a 2. So there is definitely a 2 in one of those squares. That is what I've now concluded. Now let me just go through and check that I think that this is definitely forced. The reason I think that there is a 2 in this domino, maybe there are 2 2's here as well, I'm not ruling that out, but there's at least 1 2 in this domino, is this 2 needs a friend in its box. That 2 cannot go in either of those positions. This position because of what it does to the thermo, this position because it's a 5th column with a 2 in it. This position is impossible because of what it does to the thermo. So I think these 2 places are the only positions for 2's left to give this to a partner. Now, if the 2's were in an X-wing arrangement, that means we'd have 5 rows with 2's in. So this is an anti-X-wing in the sense that I now think we have proved there is a 2 over here and a 2 over here. But rather than the 2, in normal Sudoku, the 2's would have to be either there or there. In SUDOKU, I think they have to be aligned to make sure that there is a second 2 in the row in which the 2 appears. Now that means that we've now approximately placed 8 2's, and we have 1 more 2 to place. And that 2, where are we going to put it? Where are we going to put it? It's got to be in a box in which we've already, and it can't create a 5th row, so it's not in either of those 2 cells. So the final 2 that we're going to place is not in any of those squares. We've ruled out those 3 already, and we can't have 2 2's here, or we have a 5th row of 2's. We can't have 2 2's here, or we'd have a 5th row of 2's. We can't have 2's in a new column. We can't have 2 2's because that would make 10 2's. So the 2's that we're going to have to place, there can't be any more 2's in this box. That's already filled. They can't, so it's this square. This square can't be a 2, or that's a 5th row of 2's. Sorry, and I've beaten around the bush here, but I believe that square is now forced to be a 2. And we've got the anti-X-wing of 2's at the top. Now what's that square? Now that square has to be a 7 or an 8, because if it was anything other than what's already in the box, it would be the single instance of itself in the box. So now I'm looking at this digit and I'm thinking about this row, because that digit has to find a friend over here. Now that I can see, actually that's something weird going on, because this is a 7 or an 8. So if, let's just highlight that cell. If this one finds a friend here, Oh, hang on, now I've got a problem here. Oh, that's ridiculously clever. Good grief. Right. That is so... This is such a brilliant puzzle, honestly. Puzzles like this, they deserve to be tried in schools across the planet and like seen by everybody, because this is such... That human beings can come up with stuff like this is just ridiculous. Look at this. This has to repeat in the row. If it repeats in the 16 cage, then the problem here is, what is this digit then? Bear in mind, it must repeat, it itself must repeat in the row. Well, we've already found all the 2s and all the 5s in the puzzle. So in fact, this would become yellow. But now there's a problem, because all 4 of these digits are yellow, but there's a 16 and a 14 cage. So if yellow is 8, the 16 cage is broken, and if yellow is 7, the 14 cage is broken. So either way, it's broken, and that means that these are not yellow, which means that is yellow, which means that is yellow, and now yellow can't be 7 because it would make the 14 cage add up. So there are 8s in a weird sort of deadly pattern in these squares, and that acquires the mantle of yellowness. Now this tiny thermo is beautiful, because now how could this be an 8? It's got to be 8 or higher than 8. And if it's 8, those add up to 16 again. So it's not, it's 9. Those 2 squares are 9. And now look at this. This is comical. These 2 squares now are either 8s or they're higher than 8s because of the backward thermo. Well, they can't be 8s or they would add up to 16, so they're 9s, and in fact all 3 of those cells are therefore 9 because the thermo can't start to go down again. So I've now got 5 9s. I'm going to make those a different colour. We shall choose blue. 9s can be blue. And I've got 5 9s now. This 20, you see, the 20 cage is just a meme, isn't it? I mean, this is, there is no reason to make that cage 20. All it's telling us is that those 2 digits are the same. The specification of the number, I mean, it could have been 487 there, rather than 20. Now, what does this mean? I don't know, is the short and sweet answer. The 21 cage now can't have 8s and 9s in it, because remember, all 3 would be the same. So if there were 3 8s, you'd have 5 8s. You'd have 8s in 5 different rows. And the same is true for 9s. So there's no 8s or 9s or 7s in the 21 cage. If there were 7s, they would add up to 21. So this cage, it can't be 1s actually. Actually, this cage might be the key. It can't be 1s because there'd be 1s in 5 different rows. It can't be 2s. We've done all the 2s. Maybe it could be 3s. Only just. If it's 3s, then 3s would occupy 4 different rows, which is the most they would be allowed to. Maybe it can be 3s, not sure. 4s, I know nothing about, so 4s are probably a good bet for this. 5s, we've got all the 5s. 6s, oh, actually 6s are rather nice as well, aren't they? They seem to align with 6s we've placed over here. So, okay, not as good as I hoped. 3, 4 or 6 into the 21 cage. Now that means we need to repeat 9 in column 9. Okay, and here's a little, this is beautiful, isn't it? Where are we going to repeat the 9 up here? And the answer is I have not got a Scooby-Doo, but I do know that if either this square or this square were 9s, you have to put a 9 in the bulb because the thermo can never increase. So it's impossible actually for that square not to be a 9. That is a blue 9. And that's because if you try and put the 9 anywhere but this, you would, in doing that, force a 9 into the bulb. So we're not saying these are not 9s. We're just saying that this is a 9. Now that 9 is in a 38 cage. What's that doing? I guess the 9 has to repeat. Is that in any way restricted? Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. Well, you can't put a 9 at the end of a thermo because then you've got to fill the whole thermo with 9s. And there would be 9s in umpteen different rows. So that's not a 9. It's the same thing true here. If that's a 9, oh, that's actually rather beautiful. That's not a 9 because if that's a 9, again you've got to fill the thermo with 9s. And that looks fine in theory, except, well, actually it's easy. We've got 9s in 5 different rows again. I was noticing before we'd actually got 9s in 5 different boxes. But so that's not a 9 either. So is this a 9 is the question. No, that breaks almost as badly as this. You'd have to fill in the thermo with 9s. It won't work. So actually, 9s have to be in this domino here. Although you could possibly have, could they both be 9s? That would be 3, hang on, 5 here, 6, 7, 8, and you'd have to repeat a 9 in row 1 to make this one have a friend. Maybe that could be a 9. I don't know. So you might be able to have lots of 9s in this box. If they were adding up to 27, these 3 squares would have to be the same digit. Yeah, I bet, right, okay, we're going to make a bet here. I'm betting there are not 3 9s in this 38 cage, because otherwise I don't understand why it's been given. I think it's been given to rule out some combination of digits, but if these were 3 9s, given these digits have to be the same, they should be divisible by 3, and 38 minus 27 is 11. It's not divisible by 3. So I don't think there's 2 9s. I don't think there's 3 9s in this cage. I think one of these will be 9, but that's not really, we can't solve it backwards like that. We're going to have to prove it for ourselves. So where on earth do we look now? I don't have a clue. Keep looking at this thermometer thinking, oh, that thermometer's really useful. It's utterly not, because all we know is that these digits are higher than 2. We don't even know they're the same digits. And then the other thing I'm looking at is the 3, 4, 6 in here and thinking, oh, that means there must be a 7 on here and a 1 and a 9. But of course, that's not true either. You don't have to have one of each digit in a box. In fact, you're told you don't have one of each digit in a box. That's a result of digits not being able to appear exactly once in any box. You can't do Sudoku, so you can't sort of go, okay, 1 or 2 here, 2 here, there must be a 2 in there. That's nonsense. Oh, you evil, evil people. I've not got a clue where to look. Is it possible to say that those squares are not 8s now? I'm just thinking about the sort of rule about 5 rows, but I'm not actually sure that's right here. If those were all 8s, that would be an 8, and you'd have 8 eighths in the grid. Oh, actually, I can disprove that. It's a bit tricky to do it. Right, let's imagine this is an 8. The corollary of that is that not only are these 3 eighths, but the thermo forces that to be an 8. So we'd have umpteen eighths now in box 8, which means this must be an 8. Because if it was a 7, it would be the only 7 in its box. Now look, now I've placed all 9 eighths in the grid, except that in this box, this 8 doesn't have a friend, and in this row, this 8 doesn't have a friend. So there needs to be another 8, and by my count, that would be a 10th 8, which is impossible. So actually, I think we can say that those squares are 7s, which means that square is not an 8. I was hoping that would do something to the thermo, but actually we've got 2 7s and 2 8s. We don't need another one of those. We don't know what this digit is because it could be the 7 side or the 8 side. Oh, do we know? No, I suppose we don't know if they're the same or they could even be different because we've already got our quotas of 7s and 8s in box 8. How annoying. The 20 cage will sort of be self-serving, so whatever's in there fulfills its requirement for the box and the row. So it doesn't have to follow suit. It doesn't have to be a 7 or an 8. Oh dear, I think I'm getting stuck, aren't I? This is not terribly surprising. How can I have been solving this for nearly an hour? I mean, this is just... That has flown past. Oh, what about... No, okay, that 20 is self-serving as well. Self-serving cages are not good things in this puzzle. What about column 1 then? Because I'm just wondering about this digit. Now, admittedly, this could be a 3. Yeah, actually, it's quite interesting if it is a 3. If it is a 3, what are we putting in the domino at the top? One of the digits in the domino at the top is a 2. The other one would have to be a 3 again, because if it was another digit, let's say it was a 1, that would be the only instance of it in the column. And we've used up all the 2s and the 5s in the grid already. So if that's a 3, there's another 3 up here, and that would be on a thermo with a 2, so it would have to go earlier in the thermo, so the 3 would be here. So if this is a 3, this is a 3, and that's a 2, and that would be a 2 by the false or the anti-X-wing that we've got. But what about if that's not a 3? If that's not a 3, it's got to be a completely new digit. But does that force the 2 always into this square? Or can that really be a 1? If it was a 1, that's the only way the 2 could be in this position. 1 here, then that would have to be a 1. That would have to be a 1. So we need more 1s now in row 4 and row 5. But we'd have all the 1s in, we'd have 4 columns and 4 rows of 1s. So you'd have to occupy those 3 squares with 1s. I'm not sure whether that's possible or not. That's very annoying actually, because if I knew 1 was impossible, then whatever this digit was, it wouldn't matter. The 2 would always have to go on the tip of the thermo, and that would give me 2 more digits. About the 1 in this column. I must have another 1 in this column. Can it be in the bulb? Surely. No. Okay. There must be another 1 in this column, and it's not here, because that would require the whole of the thermo to be 1s, and that would put 5 1s in different rows. So there is a 1 either here or here. Now, can we get rid of either of those? If you put a 1, we have got some thermo action going on. If that's a 1, hang on a minute, that doesn't work at all. Ah, this is it. Right. Look at this position. Can that be a 1? If that's a 1, we need another 1 in row 6. It can't go there, or this thermo is working, and that's just not allowed. If it's here, it can't go here, because then this whole thermo now, in order to never descend, has to be a whole sequence of 1s, and that's nonsense. There's too many 1s in different rows. If it's here, it's exactly the same problem. Although I could make this a high digit, I'd still have to go and put 1s in, well, there's now 1s in 6 different rows. That does not work. So that simply cannot be a 1, which means that square is a 1. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means what does that mean? That means that we must have extra 1s. My phone is buzzing at me. Hang on, let me just read what that says. A sec. Hang on. I think it's okay. I don't think I have to stop. This is a 1. So I've now got 2 1s here and 2 1s here. So I've got to have another, I've got to put another 1. I suppose I've got to put another 1 in the box. Maybe that's the restricted thing. I was thinking about the 1 in row 4, but I was thinking actually I think there's a few places that could go. But maybe it's more difficult to put the 1 in box 5. Is that true or not? If you put, we've worked out this can't be a 1 because it can never have a counterpart in the row. So that is not a 1. So all these 3 squares are not 1s. You can't put 1 on this thermo or the thermo is correct, and that's not allowed. If you put a 1 here, that makes that thermo awfully close to being correct. Let me just think about that. If that's a 1, yeah, no, then we've got 1s in 5 different columns again. That doesn't work. So there is a 1 now in one of those 2 squares. I guess that's not actually that surprising, because that's getting towards the tip of a thermo. Now, is there a way to tell? Oh, here's a nice bit of logic, which I should have got instantly but didn't until I just started to think about it. If there is a 1 in one of those 2 positions, there is always a 1 on the tip. Because if that's a 1, it forces a 1 on the tip, because the thermo must always be descending or staying the same. So that's a 1. We don't know whether this is a 1 as well, but we do now know that we've found 4 rows with 1s in. So there are no more 1s in any other rows of the puzzle. And that might be important for this square, because where is this square's 1 in its row? It can't be there, or that thermo's looking awfully correct. It can't be here, surely, because then I need to fill in 1s all around here, and that square in particular is not in a row that has an existing 1 in it. Same problem there, so you can't put the 1s in any of those squares. So there is a 1 here, is my contention. And oh, okay, so actually this now, so it was being viciously unkind. The 1 here must repeat in the column. Now that must, given there's a 2 in one of those squares and the thermo must descend, the 1 must now be at the tip, which puts the 2 here, which fills in the anti-X-wing cell. Now we should have all our 2's done, and we do, so we can get rid of some of the false blue colouring, red colouring. Maybe I should probably give ones their own colour here. Let's give them the colour green. Now, how many ones have I got in the grid? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many ones have we not yet partnered up? Ah, there's got to be a second one in box 4. It's got to go there. And that's beautiful. That is beautiful for many reasons probably, but the most interesting reason for me is that this square now must be a 3, because if it's a 4, it's its only appearance in the box. So that's a 3. 3s probably have to have their own colour as well. Let's make those purple. Now this one has to have a friend in its column, and it can't go here or the thermo is oscillating. So that must be a 1, which goes with the green colour. So now I've got I've got all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got all of them. All the ones are now done. So that's not a 1 after that. And now this square looks difficult, doesn't it? This is so brilliant. This puzzle is utterly, utterly memorable. You know, if we ever make another Sudoku book, this is the sort of puzzle that needs to be in it. Although I don't think this is a Sudoku. It's the opposite of a Sudoku. But it is mesmerising for all that. What's this digit? Well, we know it can't be 1, because all the 1s have gone from the puzzle, or 5. All the 5s have gone. If it was anything other than 3, it couldn't repeat in its column. So it is a 3. Now, does that mean that anything? I don't think it does mean. This is the self-fulfilling cage, isn't it? So this could be a 3. No, actually, no, in fact, that cannot be a 3. Hang on, I need to use a different colour for that. The reason I don't think this can be a 3 is that if it was a 3, you'd have 3s in 5 different rows. And we've already got 3s in 4 different rows. So the remaining 4 3s in the puzzle must all be in these exact rows that we've got them in at the moment. Now. So that's... Yes, so the 21 cage cannot have a 3 in it, because all 3 of those would be 3s, and this would be in a different row. So that's down to 4 or 6 now. Where is the 3 in row 5? It's not there, because if that's a 3, this square either needs to be a 2 or a 3, and it can be neither. If it's a 3, it's a 5th row of 3, so it's a 2, it's a 10th 2. So that's not a 3. So the 3 is on the squiggly thermo over here. Which cannot have lower digits than 3 on it, because all the 2s and the 1s have gone from the puzzle. Good grief. Right, so now I can employ the logic I did here again. Whichever one of these is a 3... Oh, no, in fact, no. Because of its squiggly nature, we actually know which of these is a 3. If that's a 3, it's really weird to see, but then that has to be a 3, and the whole of the rest of the thermo has to be a 3. But that would be a 3 in a 5th row again, so that cannot be a 3. And that must be a 3. And now the rest of this thermo must end in 3s, because it can't end in 1s or 2s because they've been used up. So these all turn purple. And I haven't filled in a final 3 in row 1. Look, we've got to place one more 3 in the puzzle. This hasn't got a friend, so there's got to be another 3 in this column, and this hasn't got a friend, so there must be another 3 in this row. So the intersection is there. So that's a 3, and that's all the 3s done now. And that's put 3s. That's put 3s in my 38 gauge. Which is probably where we need to look now. I'm just scanning around the grid to see if I can see anything else. I was going to use the word obvious, but that's so ludicrous in this puzzle. This puzzle is the epitome of unobvious. It's about as opaque as it gets. I don't know. I don't know where to look. So I've now got 2 3s here. Okay. So now our conjecture earlier about 9s is now proved, because it's not possible now for there to be 3 9s in the 38 cage, because if there were 3 9s, this digit, whatever it was, would not have a partner in the cage. So there is exactly 1 more 9. So now we know the total of 4 of the digits in this 38 cage, and that must be 2 9s, which is 18, plus 2 3s, which is 6, so 24, so 14. So that this is ruling out 7 then. So this square cannot be a 7, is what we've just learnt. I wasn't thinking it was a 7, but it definitely cannot be a 7, because if it was a 7, its repeat wherever that went up there, plus the double 9 plus the double 3 would take the total to 38. So this square is not 7, and it's not 1, 2 or 3 either. So it's 4, it's not 5. Actually, we are running out of digits a bit here. So it's 4, 6, 8 or 9. Now if it's 9, surely it can't be 9. If it's 9, the whole of the rest of the... No, okay, it's not 9. I can prove it's not 9. If it's 9, these have to be 9s as well. And now I think you've got 9s in 5 different boxes. This box 1, 2, 3. Oh no, I'm wrong. Sorry, I just can't count apparently. Have we got 9s in 2, 3? No, I can't count. Have we got 9s in too many rows? 1, 2, 3. Yes, we do. Okay, we can rule it out using row logic rather than box logic then. So that is not a 9. Good. So this is down to an even number. It's 4, 6 or 8. But how is that in any way useful? If it's 8, sorry, I'm just trying to understand what on earth this is. I suppose it must repeat up here as well. Is that the point? So whatever's in this cell, I'm running out of colours here. I wonder if I can reuse. I'm going to get rid of my green ones because I've done my ones. I'm going to make this green. And I'm going to note that one of those squares must be green because green must repeat in the 38 cage. So one of these is a 9. One of these is a repeat of this digit. Now that actually is useful as regards 6s are concerned. This cannot be a 6, because if that was a 6, because it's repeating here, we'd have a 6 in one of these rows, this row, and these 3 rows. That's 5 6s, so that's not 6. It's 4 or 8 now. Now 8 might be able to be ruled out by thinking about the effect on the top of the thermo. If that's an 8, you'd have an 8 9 pair here. Now, how many 9s have we got in the grid? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that clearly cannot be a 9 then, because that would put 2 9s in, and we'd have to add 2 9s to that total, which would take us to 11 9s. So if this is an 8, that has to be an 8. I'm not sure yet about this square. Let's just have a think about this. So if this 8, 8. Now if that was also an 8. Okay. So let's carry on with this then. So we worked out this couldn't be a 9. I've now, I think, established that if this is an 8, this cannot be an 8. Because if this was an 8, I've now got 8s in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes, which is too many. So the only way this works, if this is an 8, this has to be a 9. It has to go 8, 8, 9 very specifically. on the thermo. Now, is that... Yeah, no. Bobbins. I thought that might be broken because of 9s, but maybe it's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I need one more 9, which must be... It must be in this box. This doesn't work. I don't think this works. Because it must be in this box to make a second 9 to partner this 9. But wherever I put it, I think is creating the obligation to put a 10th 9 in the grid. Let's just think about this. So if this is 9, I can't put the 9 here because that would have to be a 9. So this doesn't work. I can't put a 9 here because then I have to put another 9 in this column. So that's another 10th 9 if you like. Now if I put the 9 here on the other hand, yeah, it's beautiful, it doesn't work. If this is a 9, now this 9 needs to have a friend, because if you count the 9s, I think we're now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this 9 has to have this as its friend. But then, oh no, yeah, and then this 9 then doesn't have a second 9 in its row. So we cannot simultaneously satisfy everything here. So this doesn't work. Not easy to show that, but I think this is not an 8, and therefore that square is a 4. Oh, those are not 8s, therefore. So that square's a 4. There's a 4-9 pair at the top of column 8. Oh, and can you see what that does to this? Well, it means that's not 4 anymore, because if it was, given there's a 4 in one of those two, we'd have 5 rows containing 4s. So those are 6s. So the 6s probably now have earned their own colour, haven't they? They can be... These are the decisions that do plague me. I want to get the colour correct. I think we'll make them dark grey, and I'll change the colour of that. There we go. Right, that feels good. So now we've got 6 6s in the grid. We've got a 4 here, which means this has got to be lower than 4 or itself 4. And it can't be lower than 4 because we've got all the 3s, the 2s and the 1s placed, so that is a 4. That 4 needs to replace another digit along its row, look. Which we can probably do somehow. Now I'm also thinking I need to put another 4 in box 6 somewhere. So if this is a 4, I've then got... No, that can't be a 4. Surely that's too many 4s in rows. I've got 1, 2, 3... Yeah, that's 5. This is not 4. So there's a 4 in one of those two cells. Now if it's this one, this is where this gets a bit weird. If it's that one, you also have to put a 4 here. 1, 2, 3, and that would be 5 4s again. So it's not there. So I think that is the only position for an extra 4. Now we have identified all the rows in which 4s can appear in, although it's slightly ambiguous at the top of column 8. These, we've got 4 4s. So there's got to be a 4 in one of those two cells. There's got to be a 4 in one of those two cells. I'm not sure. I want to say something erudite about this 4 here, but I'm not sure whether its 4s have to go over there or whether its 4 could be... I mean, This column I'm noticing as well, these two digits, is it true to say they have to be the same? If they were different, oh no, perhaps they could be a 6 and a 9, or oh sorry, no, I think I'm just talking absolute nonsense. No, I'm sorry, I thought I was going to come up with something clever there, but no, I'm not. Okay. I've not got a clue where to look here. Do we have... If that's a 4, is that in some way making things difficult in the world? I don't think so. If that's a 4... 1, 2, 3... If that's... No, in fact, that could well be a 4, given that this one at the end of the thermo would look quite sensible then. And we can't, because we can't put any more 2s and 3s in. Okay, so now we're reaching more difficult points in the puzzle. And we've got to somehow work out what to do next. All the 1s are done. Don't look at 1s, Simon. All the 2s are done. All the 3s are done. The 4s are being recalcitrant and have let themselves down. How many 9s have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need 2 more 9s. Sort of. Is it possible those are both... Ah, if that was a 9, it would be possible that those were both 9s. That would be rather elegant as well. You could have 9s like that, and I think each 9 has a pair in its respective row or column. So they could be 9s. Wow. I don't know where to look. Let's have a think about this digit then, perhaps. Now that digit cannot be a 4, because that would create 5 rows with 4s in. So this is something else. So it could be 6, I think. Probably is 6, because that would pair off rather nicely with what we've already got. 6, 7? Is there any reason it can't be 7? Don't know. 8, 9. That's a lot of options. That's really disappointing. And therefore that is also all of those options, I think. Is it true they have to be the same? Yes, it is. Ah, that's interesting. That's... Ah, so they're not... okay, they're not 6s. Good grief. Right, this is a sensible question. If these are not the same digit, then one of them will be isolated. You can make one of them a 6 and it will have a friend, but the other one... Oh no, could they be a 4? No, they can't be a 4. I seem to have eliminated 4s. I think I did eliminate 4s by considering where the second 4 went in box 6. If that's a 4... Yeah, that's a 5th row of 4s. If that's a 4, that would have to be a 4 as well, and that would create a 5th row of 4s. Good grief. The logic is very intricate, isn't it? But now, if if one of these is 6, the other one's isolated then. If they're both 6, the problem there is that we've got 8 6s in the grid, and we've got to put an extra 6 in column 7 and an extra 6 in column 8. That makes 10 6s. So these are not 6s. Now, can we do that logic again, perhaps with 9s? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 6, 7 like that. So if these were both 9s, that would be 9 9s. We'd have to put another 9 here and another 9 here. That's too many 9s. We can rule 9 out. Good grief. Right, we're down to 7 or 8 now. Now... How do we know which of 7 or 8 they are? whatever they are, they're completing their quota of... okay. Yeah, whatever they are, they're completing the number of columns in which their digit appears. So if this was double 7, we'd have 7s in 4 different columns, taking into account those. If they're double 8, we'd have 8s in 4 different columns. Now, but where's this one's repeated digit in this column? It has to be there. So these digits here are all the same colour. And that means they can't be 8s. This is ridiculous. This is one of the cleverest things I have ever solved in my life. Because if these are all now 8s, which they could be in theory, we've got 8 8s in the grid, but I've got to add another 8 to row 5 and another 8 to row 6. That's too many 8s. That's 10 8s. So these are all 7s, and therefore they all go with those, and I need another colour. So I'm going to get rid of my blues, my reds. I think I did that earlier as well. I'm going to get rid of my reds, make 7 red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I've got 7 red. But I've got 7 reds. I need 2 more. I need another one in this row. So one of those is 7. I need another one in this column. But that cell there could simultaneously meet both criteria. I've got 7s now, look, in 4. I've got 7s in 4 different rows, 4 different columns, and 4 different boxes. So the remaining 7s are really restricted. I'm sure that there's a way of working out which one of those is which. I don't know what it is. Can I get that digit now? Because presumably that must be a repeatable digit in this column. Oh, it could be 9, couldn't it? So it can't be 3. It could be 4, probably. And it can't be 7, because if it was 7, that would be a 5th box full of 7s. So it's 4 or 9, okay. This is so strange to see these 3 cells all pencil marked with the same digit, but I think it is probably correct. Because of course in this puzzle it's perfectly fine to repeat digits. Okay. Okay. That square then is an 8. Because if it's a 7, it's a 5th column of 7s. So that's 8, which requires yellow potency. That 8 must have a friend up there somewhere. Do we know? I don't quite know how to do this. Which I'm sure is patently obvious after 90 minutes of battle. Ordinarily, I'd look along this row and go, oh, fantastic, look at all these pairs, these 2 are restricted. They're just not in this puzzle at all. So, what do we do then to learn more about this? Is it... I don't know. I'm not sure. Is it 6s? Are 6s somehow restricted? This thermo or this thermo? I don't think this one. I don't feel like this one is. Maybe I'll look at this one. This one ends in 4s, but could continue to have 4s on it. Although 1, 2, 3. I know, but that doesn't stop these being 4s. Although 1, 2. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. In fact, it would be very useful if these were all 4s. So let's think about let's start with this digit. What can this digit be? It could be 4, it can't be 5, it could perhaps be 6. It can't be 7 because that would put a 5th column of 7s in. So it's 4, 8, 9, 4, 6, 8, or 9 perhaps. But if it's 9, then that is also 9. And surely that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, and then I need to add a 9 to row 3 and another 9 to row 4. That's not right. So that's not 9. So this is 4, 6, or 8. Now, what does that mean? 1, 2, I don't know. Is there something we can say about that that's going to be a useful comment? Like, so it has to go up to this digit, doesn't it? Or it stays the same. So this is either 4, 6, again it can't be 7, 8. This one might be able to be 9 actually. Which is very annoying. Let's have a think about this. So again, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need a repeated 9 in this row. Oh no, that couldn't simultaneously, or would it be that? No, you can't do that. This can't be 9. It's a bit complicated to see why. But if it's 9, I must put exactly one more 9 in the puzzle when I count one of these as a 9. Now that means I can't put a 9 in a new column. So it can't go here, and if I put but I need another 9 in this box. So could that be 9? No, that can't be 9 because we run into that problem that we had earlier then. This 9 needs a friend which has to be there, and then that one doesn't have a friend. God, blimey. Sorry, so this is 4, 6, or 8 as well as this one. So if this is 4, that's also 4. We'd have double 4 here. Surely that can be ruled out for some reason. I then have 4s in 4 different boxes. I'm not sure I can actually rule that out, you know. I might be wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'm not sure. That might be possible. What about, let's try and rule out double 8 perhaps here? If this is 8, that has to be 8 as well. So why doesn't double 8 work? That doesn't work because then I'd have 7 8s placed in the puzzle. This square would have to be an 8 because I need another 8 in this row. That's 8 8s placed in the puzzle. This 8 needs a friend that couldn't go in a new box, so this square would have to be an 8 as well. So we get double 8 on this thermo, double 8 here, and that would create a quota of 8s, and that would force this square to be a 9. So this can only be double 8 if this square is a 9, and if this square is a 9, 8. I need to put another 9 in this. Yeah, that doesn't work. So then I have to put a 9 here and a 9 here, and that's 10 9s. Wow, that's so hard. Right, so that's not an 8. So this is now down to 4 or 6. It would be really nice if there was some easy reason why this couldn't be 6. It really would, wouldn't it? It really would be most welcome. 2, 3. It's really difficult to see how this could be a double 6 pair, but I'm not sure it couldn't be an 8-6 pair. That's the problem. I'm sure I'm looking at this the wrong way, by the way. There's probably a, if you look at this exactly on the right, in the right cell, there's probably a reason that you can just fill it in from here. But unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know which cell that is I'm meant to be focusing on. And this puzzle is almost immune to normal Sudoku scanning. Okay, let me think. I know there's a repeated 4. I know one of these digits at least is a 4. That's fine. I know one of these digits is a 4. I know that 3s and 2s are done. One of those 3 digits is a 4, although if that was a 4, that would also have to be a 4. I'm not saying that's impossible, that might be possible, I'm not sure. Okay, okay, so is there a reason this can't be 6? If it's 6, that's now 7 6s in the puzzle, and we need an 8th 6 in this column. So if that was a 6, now this 6 needs a friend, which can't go in a new column or a new row, which is problematic. So that would break the puzzle. Because you can't put 6 here because you need a 6 in row 1. You can't put 6 there, you need a 6 in column 5. And there you need a 6 in column 4 and row 2. So if this is 6, this has to be 8. Now, why is that problematical, if indeed it is? If this is 6, you're definitely also going to need another 6 in this box, actually. Maybe that's the point. Although anywhere you put that, it's going to be sort of franked by the 6s on either side of it. So you've got 7 6s now. You're going to find an 8th here somewhere, which could be in the same column as it. I sort of feel like that's really difficult though. Okay, sorry. Not quite understanding how to do that. So, where do I look then? What is it about this puzzle that's meant to give me some joy at this point? Is it going to be here? Is it going to be these squares? It could be. Oh, maybe I can't. Yeah, I can't put. Yeah, okay. Let's have a look at this domino because I've just realised I can't put 7 into either of those. So we'll start with. Well, let's pencil mark them both. In theory, they could be 4. They could be 6. They could be 7. They could be 8. They can't be 9. Let's just deal with 9. If this is a 9 or this is a 9. Then you've also got to put 9 here. That's going to be 9s in loads of different rows, which is not going to work. Even this one can't be 9, I don't think. If that's 9, you get a 9 here. 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got to put 9s in 2 different columns. That is not 9. So this is now down to 4, 6, 7, or 8. Now these can't be 7s because that's going to be a 7 in a 5th row. So now we're down to 4, 6, or 8. Okay, this feels like it might be more productive. If we go 8 here, we have to go 8 there. That's surely impossible. He says, trying to see exactly why. You then need, if if you go 8, if you go double 8, why does that fail? I just don't believe that works, but I can't immediately prove to myself why it doesn't. I then have to put, yeah, I can't put another 8 in row 4. That's why that fails. So that definitely is not an 8. That one I'm not so sure about. So if that's a 6, the problem is these 6s and 8s are so, they're so possible. I'm sorry if you can all see how to do this as well. I am always conscious, you know that, of making a mess of these puzzles. But I'm not abandoning this one. This is going to be one of the longest Sudoku solves we've ever had on the channel. Okay, come on, Simon. How do we resolve this? If this square, I guess, has to also be 4, 6. That one might have the ability to be 9. That could be true. Keep coming back to these 9s. I've got 7 placed. That would be an 8th. It would need another 9 in its column. No, that can't be a 9 actually. Okay, so that's not 9 because you need another 9 in this row, and you couldn't put one in. So we are running out of spaces. So this square now can't be a 9 either because there would be the only 9 in the box. And we know that can't be a 7, so that square is also a 4, 6 or an 8. Well, I don't think that's terribly helpful. So if this was an 8, this would have to be an 8. Okay, if this is an 8, that forces 8 into the bulb. Now where does the second 8 go in row 2? It would have to be here. So we'd have 8s in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different rows. That's not an 8. So now we've got this down to 4 or 6. We're closing in at the rate of a snail on some sort of finish perhaps. So again, if that's an 8 then, you've got to go 8, 8 there. You've got to put 8 here, you've got to put 8 here. This is surely, yeah, that's 10 8s. Yeah, if this is an 8, then you've got to go 8 here, 8 here. You need another 8 in this column. Oh no, that could be an 8 down at the bottom. Bobbins, sorry, I might be wrong about this not being able to be 8. You've got to go 8 there and there. That's for true. So now we're up to 8 8s. I need another 8 in this column. But that could possibly be an 8. No, because then I need another 8 in column 6 as well, and that would be, so I'd still get to a count of 10, so that is not an 8. Okay, so this 4, 6 pair allows me to eliminate 4 and 6 from here and leave double 8 behind. No, it doesn't. Not in this puzzle, it doesn't. So now this can't be 6. Yes, it can't be 6. If that's a 6, that's a 6. And that's 8 6s in the grid, but I need a second 6 in row 2 and a second 6 in row 3. That is a 4. Ha! Which means that must be a 4. Now we get 2 green 4s in the grid. Can't do any eliminations, of course. I'm not anticipating being able to do those. But that does feel perhaps like progress. Now, I must have a second 4. How many columns have I now? I've only got 4s in 3 columns. I've got 6 4s approximately placed. I need a 7th 4 here, an 8th 4 here. But whichever one of these is a 4, is going to need a 4 in its column, which is not yet lit. So now we know, don't we, the approximate position of all 9 fours. I think that's right. Let me do this slowly so we can agree. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fours placed and 1 4 in this domino. That's 6 fours. Now, I know that there's got to be another 4 in here. So that's a 7th 4. I know there's got to be 1 4 in here. That's an 8th 4. No, actually I might be wrong about this. I've now got a horrible feeling that these 4s can see each other and meet the criteria. Or maybe I'm... oh, goodness me. Sorry. I think I'm making a meal of this now. I suspect that there's a quick way of spotting how to finish this, but I'm not finding it. I bet it's something like I could have done the 7s and totally interrupted some communication somewhere, which would have really, really helped everything. Okay, but you have to. I hope you'll be able to forgive me because it's quite hard, I think, to know where to look in this. It really is. These can't be 6s. Because if one of them is a 6, the other is a 6, and that's 5 6s in 5 columns. But we don't yet know whether they're different digits, do we? Nines? Is it something to do with 9s? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I could get loads more 9s in box 3. So I don't think it is really to do with 9s. If this was an 8, that would have to be an 8. Is there anything wrong with that? Don't think so. Oh, I tell you what, that can't be an 8 anymore because you couldn't repeat the 8 in the row. Maybe it's this digit. What can that be? Let's check this digit, sorry. Right, so this has to be capable of repeating in its row. So it's not 1, it's not 3. It could be 6. I don't think it would be 7, it would be the 5th 7. It would be 5 columns worth of 7s. Oh, so is that just a 6? Hang on, that can't be right. In this row, it could be a 6. It can't be a 7. Oh, this is it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, everybody. I really feel I've let everybody down here. Especially Isaac, because if I'd looked at this cell earlier, all I did was I looked at the 2. I've not focused on this thermometer because it's got a 2 at the end, and I knew that had to be a high digit. What I failed to appreciate is it has to be a digit that repeats in row 5. And that's limited because 3s and 1s are already replete. 7 it can't be because of the column issue. This digit can only be a 6 or a 7, so this has to be a 6. Now, I've now got 7 6s in the grid. The 8th 6 must come from this box. Therefore, no other box in the puzzle can have a 6 in it, because if it did, you'd have to add a 10th 6 to the... it would make a 10th 6. So we can take 6 out of all those squares. And that makes this square, after all this, a 4. Now I have got 4s in 4 different columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can't put 4s into those squares. They've become double 8. It was this thermo bulb. Good grief. Right, so they become yellow. Now, now that must have a friend. That's there. Now I need another 8 in this box. That must be here. Okay, good. I'm now starting to feel confident I might be able to finish the puzzle at least. So now whatever this digit is the same as that digit. So that's a 4 or a 9. which means that's a 4 or a 9, because obviously this digit needs a repeat in this row. Now, so this digit is the same as those digits. I'm tempted to say that means... Oh, so we're going to say it can't be 9s, but maybe it's actually 4s that are the issue. It is 4s that are the issue, because that would be a 5th column of 4s. Good grief, so that's 9. And that's 9 as a result of that. All those are 9s is my belief. Let's get rid of the colours and add 9s to them. This 9 has a repeat, this 9 has a repeat. Yeah, the columns all look good. That's all 9 9s, so those squares have to be 4s. And therefore they acquire greenliness. Now, how many 4s have we now got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we need a second one in this box. And this one needs a second one in its column, so it's got to be this square. Great. So that's a 4, therefore this is not a 4, because we've done all the 4s. That's got to be 6 now, which means it gets grayed in. And I've got 2 cells to do, and I know I should just be able to write them in, but I don't. Right. Oh, now I've got 3 cells to do, actually. These 3 cells. So, in this column, we're missing it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter what we're missing. 6 here, so this has to be lower. Oh, it could be 6, I suppose. Or it's lower than 6. But it can't be 4 anymore, and it can't be 5. Yeah, and the only digits we've got left to place now are 6, 7, and 8, so it is a 6. So that's a 6. And therefore that gets grayed in. That now cannot be a 6 and must be a 7, which means it acquires redness. Let's just check. Yeah, we've got 2 here, 2 in box 5, 2 in the row, and we have... Oh, have I only got... Oh, I was worried all of a sudden that I've got the wrong number of 8s, but I've got all my 8s, so that's of course a 7. And now I should have 9 of everything, I think. And I think I've finished the puzzle. That's stupendous. It's nearly 2 hours it's taken me. But it was magnificent. Isaac, it was magnificent. I'm so sorry I didn't spot this business around here. There may have been other ways to progress as well. I got a bit bogged down trying to think about thermos and trying to structure some logic that worked and not finding anything. But I think that's correct. Oh, yeah, okay. When you get to the end of this puzzle, do not click the tick button, because Sven, you know, it's poor, I know, but Sven hasn't programmed it to understand this. No, it's completely fair enough, obviously, because that would be ludicrous. I'm now very, very hungry. I didn't think for a moment, and I need to call up Mark and complain, because he needs to give me a bit of warning if he's going to give me a puzzle like this. To just say open it on camera is fine, but then when it takes me 2 hours to do it, that's a bit mean. Good grief. Loved it though. I hope you enjoyed watching me battle through it, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.